So the best way to work out, I think, what works and what doesn't work in Pinterest really is to just have a look yourself. This is my stream at the moment, and if you go down there, I think it's pretty obvious pins that look better than others and which ones catch your eye. So, I mean, at the beginning here, they're not too bad. Kind of do. If you scroll down, you can see when you've got like a little picture like that, it really doesn't catch your eyes. It doesn't really tell you what it's about very well. Because I find in Pinterest, you don't really read the text that much. You look at the pictures. Or even here, like that's a beautiful picture. But being a landscape pin, it just doesn't stand out like the portrait one above it stands out way more, even though I think that this one might be a prettier picture to me. But that one I would be more likely to notice. Tips for travel to India, very simple. You see it straight away. Although I'd say with that one pin, a bit too long, really. Can't see it all in the one screen. So we've got some really pretty ones here. See how contrast works well in the photos too. All of those are pretty good. If you compare, say, these animal ones here, like with these ones here, like the quality of photos just not the same, and it being landscape, you just don't notice it properly. Here, and this is another thing that I think you need to notice. Like here, suddenly my feed's all filled up by one blogger, and not really great pins. I'd be trying to just think about that. You fill up someone's feed, like I got in here earlier and my whole feed was filled with car photos from someone. I don't even like cars. I wouldn't have chosen to follow something about cars, so I went and removed that person. So just be a little bit mindful about how many you're doing at once as well, especially if it's for something that's not really your niche. So you can keep going down. Yeah, so there's just too many by the one people. So even this looks really pretty, and it probably looks great on their site, but it's not very noticeable, although better than nothing at all, perhaps, as long as you don't go overboard. So yeah, we've just got lots of the same person's photos. And then we get some of these car ones. But yeah, so I hope from that you can see how much better it looks when you have like a pin, like one with a longer vertical than horizontal, than just the photos that just look like someone's holiday snaps. The other thing to take notice of, I think, is the difference between when there's text on the picture and when there's not. Now, maybe your aim in Pinterest is just to get repinned a lot or whatever and not to drive traffic to your website. But if it is to drive traffic to the website, I just think, like having this text here just makes it so much more likely. I see that and I might think it's a pretty picture. I might actually pin that. Like that's the type of thing I repin quite often. But I'm not going to click on it. Whereas this one, if I was after paleo kitchen tips, I know exactly what it's about. I understand it's a blog post, so I might click on it. Whereas something like this, I don't even know if it's a blog post, and maybe it's not. But a lot of people do just put their photos, and there needs to be some type of call of action, which is what this says. So I thought we'd just take a look at one of my boards. So it's not just my own work on here. I mean, this top level, only that one's my pin. It's not the best pin ever, but it's pretty obvious. It stands out a bit. It's pretty obvious that it's about what it's about and what you might get if you click on it. So if you scroll down, I go for a lot of text. I do have the occasional one that's like this. That's because that's the pin from my page. Now, posts that I've written that are more story-like posts, like this was just about how we had this day trying to find a laundry. Those types of posts don't go well in Pinterest in my experience, so I don't build a pin for them. But I've got very few posts I don't build a pin for, and when that's the case, I just use the pinnable image that I put on the post, and I do just pin it to my page, but I don't bother pinning it anywhere else. I just sort of put it there for like a bookmark, I guess, that I read about that. So like look at this one, that's just beautiful. Not just pretty that you might want to put anywhere in a photo one, but one that you realise you can click on. So much better than mine, but they do the job. I thought we'd just look at some of my most popular ones. Down the bottom. You can also see this like vertical one, like this one here is not a bad size, but some of mine are too long. Like this Birmingham one, you can't see it all in one screen, so to me that's too long. It doesn't work as well. So yeah, ones like this have worked really well for me driving Mammy to New Orleans. This one here is my most popular pin. So things to do in New Orleans in a few days. Like it's not even that spectacular. You can see 2,500 repins. But I think in reality it must be more, because I get about 50 hits a day, and I actually pin that in December, so that's how powerful that can be. So you can see it's not like it's the best photo ever. The text isn't even on there that well, but it can still do well. So I find, you know, you can build something like this in a few minutes. It's worth the effort. You never know when you might get one take off like that. This one gets quite a lot of hits. This one does. This one gets a few. So yeah, and there's some other people's. So you can see the difference between those, and like this one, it's a pretty picture. You know, I repinned it, but I don't know if it's a blog post or not. I wouldn't find out.